La 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 la, wait till I get my money right.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Quantum Ascend. I have Floki up on the screen, 1 week price chart here. And I went ahead and I already did the Elliott Waves for you. We had our first five here, another five, another five. Finished out in ABC going back to June of 2024. So that is still the range we are stuck underneath. If you look over here, this is why we're here today. Figure out waves 3, 4, and 5. I don't think this is 3, 4 here. You can argue that it is, and then we go and do a blow off 5 waves. We got to wait and see kind of how this develops right now from an Elliott Wave perspective. But either way, we're going to be taking a look. We will have some targets and some stops on the way up, but I feel really good about this one, guys. Like, I'm going to show you why here in a second, but I feel pretty good about the targets on this. So I'm going to go ahead. First things first, we want to take fibs, draw the range out from the high over here to the low down here, because we are yet to close that range out. Let's see right there. Yet to close that range out. We got stopped out, pretty much a double top right here before we ABC'd, and now we're waiting for 5 more waves to take us off into glory. If you look at this, this did technically set a new high. So you could say that on the macro, you're looking at like a 1, a 2, a 3. This is pretty sloppy. A 4 and a 5. You could argue that. But again, I'm less concerned about that macro count than I am where we're headed in some of these price targets. So we'll go ahead. We'll get that started here. Again, we want to find out 3, 4, and 5, what resistances we're going to hit along the way. Before I do that, guys, join the Quantum Circle. 2 daily videos, entries, exits, strategy, and a private Discord. Link to that is in my bio. That's where the real alpha is. It doesn't matter what coin you hold. It's going to come down to what the macro looks like. We talk about that daily in there. And I'm telling you, you'll make your money back on the entries and exits alone on that. But anyway, back to this. Wave 3, 4, 5. Here's how we're looking. Full extension up there. What I want to do now is I want to take fibs on this last drawdown right here. The top of that A wave to the bottom of that C wave. I do that. Sure enough, check that out. A lot of confluence up here in this area. On the long-term chart going back to 2021, okay? Long range, these resistances are going to be heavier on the longer range. We also take this most recent drop, and you can see that there's a ton going on up here. A full extension of that's right up here, and it's pretty close to a full extension of the whole range. So where I'm looking at this thing to end is going to be up here, right in this area right here. That's where ultimately I'm looking for this wave 5 to go. So let me close that out. Now let's take a look at just this drop going back to December, because a lot of the market we're talking about being able to go full extensions of that. Well, we see some confluence up here between the 3618 of that range and the 2618 of this range. Okay, full extension of that, a little bit further out. So you'd think we catch a little bit of resistance up here at some point. These things don't just go up in a straight line. This is a weekly chart, so they look like they could, but if you broke it down to the daily, it wouldn't just be in a straight line. But I still think our potential is for a blow off on the whole range, especially in an alt season environment. If we look back over here in 2021, albeit it was its inception, but that was an alt season. Let's take a look. Where am I at here? Yeah, this was in like the second half, the second alt season of 2021. It went 86x. All right, we're not talking about those types of numbers here, but based on where we're at right now at the time of recording, up to a full extension, you're looking at 1356, which is about a 14.5x from the current price level. Okay, and this for a cap, pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty big, pretty close to $1 billion. So that'd be a pretty decent sized cap there for Floki. Obviously, we're going to want to keep an eye as this thing moves. That's what Elliott Waves are for. But for now, that's where my target's going to stand. I think we have 2 major ranges with some confluence up there. And that's kind of how we're looking. So now what we want to know is what's going on with this third wave. Is this third and fourth wave done? I don't think so. I think this is still just a part of this third wave. Typically, what's going to happen, third waves are the longest and strongest. A lot of times we'll get up above that last high and then come back and back test it. So, and a lot of times that'll happen at the 1618. So say we got up there on wave 3, Typically on a wave 4 drawdown, you're looking at 35 to 50%. This being a larger cap could be closer to the 35% level. Going back just to back test that high right there would give us about 38. So you could see that coming in like that on a wave 4. Now, again, we're planning this out like weeks, months ahead of time, right? Because we know how these things move typically, and then we're looking up past price action to find supports as well as fibs, okay? So this thing could come lower, and that's fine. We'll keep an eye on it as it happens. But for now, we're saying that fits the parameter for a drawdown, and then we would go off into our fifth and final wave. How would that look? Wave 1 would be 180% or 2.8x. Wave 3, usually the strongest and most impulsive, 810%, that's a 9x. And then again, if we drop down to this level and with the full extension, 300% or a 4x. So waves 1 and 5 similar in length, with wave 3 being the blow off. This is, typically how we could see a 5-wave move. So a lot of generalizations, but we're basing those generalizations off of math. And again, we will, I'll keep you in the loop throughout all season as this thing gets climbing, because we're going to have to adjust as the data does. All right, that's what I got for you guys. Again, join the Quantum Circle, real-time trades, access to my portfolio, macro analysis, a Discord, and I teach you how to do TA just like me. Link to that in the bio. If not, just super appreciative you guys are here. If you can follow, like, repost. I want to get this out to as many people as I can before it's too late. So appreciate you guys. I got a few more rolling out today. I will talk to you